Today I'm going to show you how to make a walnut rye sourdough bread. This is an awesome combination. Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'm going to show you how to make a walnut rye sourdough bread. It's inspired by Danish walnut bread, Brød, which is a really dark brown crispy bread with a soft crumb and lots of walnuts. But I decided to take it more in the direction of a Danish rye bread. So there's quite a bit of rye in the dough, barley malt syrup is added. Barley malt syrup plus rye flour gives you the quintessential taste of Danish rye bread. Walnuts are just an added bonus. If you're new to this channel, I bake a lot of sourdough bread and I make delicious food from all over the world. If you want to see more of this content, please join me by subscribing and ringing the bell so you won't miss any future videos. The dough in this bread is made with 70% bread flour and 30% whole grain rye flour, also known as dark rye. Use a strong bread flour since the amount of rye can dilute the gluten, making it harder to get good gluten development. The inoculation is 20% and the salt content is 2%. The barley malt is 2.4%. This is powerful stuff. Lastly, the amount of walnuts is about 25%. If you're walnutty, you can also go for 50%. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider becoming a member at Patreon. You can also buy some merch or use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the recipe. There's a link in the description for the recipe on my website. First, we mix the dough. To a medium bowl, add 430 grams of bread flour, 190 grams of whole grain rye flour, 12 grams of salt. Mix it to distribute evenly. Then add 120 grams of sourdough starter, fed and grown to its peak. 15 grams of barley malt syrup, 480 grams of water. You may not want to add all the water at once if your bread flour isn't super absorbent. If you start at 416 grams for 70% hydration and add another 32 grams for 75%. Now you have something to work with. Mix for a little bit, then add 150 grams of whole walnuts. Mix until all the flour has been hydrated. Let the dough rest for an hour. Then it's time to do the first set of stretch and folds. Let the dough rest for 30 minutes. The second set of stretch and folds. See how the amount of rye affects the gluten development? It just tears. And another half-hour rest for the dough. Then the last set of stretch and folds. Check the gluten development. If it fails, like mine, it's fine, but if it doesn't fail, you have a really strong bread flour. Just go on with the bulk and it should be fine. Put the dough in a container with straight sides, like this Cambro. Level the top of the dough. Then mark the top of the dough and where it will have grown 50%. Then put the dough somewhere warm. I'm putting mine in my Broad & Taylor proofer set to 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Then when the dough is grown, divide the dough into 2 equally sized pieces. Use your bench scraper to pull the dough over the dry and unfloured counter so that the dough gets pulled underneath in front of the dough, thus creating tension on top. Go until the dough feels somewhat taut. If any walnuts pop out, you can just pick them up and swish them into the dough at the bottom. Shape the other dough the same way. Then let the balls rest on the counter for 20 minutes. This is to relax the gluten before final shaping. Then it's time to do the final shape. I'll show you how to shape a boule, which is a round bread, and a petard, which is a cigar-shaped bread. The boule is easier to do, so if you're a beginner, I'd recommend doing that one. I think the batard is much nicer because you get more equally sized slices. While I'm shaping, take note of how the gluten development is now excellent and the dough doesn't tear. Also, you'll find links in the description for the correct size bannetons for this size dough, about 700 grams. First, the boule. Flip over the dough, pull out the sides and fold them in towards the middle. Then flip the dough back over. Shape the dough until the surface feels really nice and taut. Then put in the Banneton. Then it's time to shape the batard. Flour the top of the dough. Move the dough out of the way, remove the excess flour. Then flip the dough onto your work surface. Stretch the dough out into a rectangle. Then fold the bottom up to about the middle, fold both sides in about 1/3, and then fold the top down and tuck it into the sides. Roll it up and seal the bottom. If you want to, you can conceal the roll on the side by pulling the dough down over top. Then flip the dough into the Banneton and perform a stitch to create further tension on the top. Then put both doughs in the fridge and let them retard for at least 8 hours, but up to 48 hours. When it's time to bake, heat your oven to 260 degrees Celsius, 500 degrees Fahrenheit, with a Dutch oven inside. I'm using a Challenger bread pan, which you can find a link for in the description. After about an hour of heating, grab your dough from the fridge. Dust the bottom with rice flour to make it slide off the peel easily. Flip it onto the peel. Dust the top with rice flour for a cool look, or don't, it's all up to you. Then score the dough. And put the dough inside the Dutch oven. Put the lid on the Dutch oven and immediately turn the heat down to 230 degrees Celsius, 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and bake for 20 minutes. Then take the lid off the Dutch oven and bake for another 25 minutes. When the bread is done, take it out of the oven and let it cool on a wire rack. The other bread is baked the exact same way. Dust it. Flip it. Score it. Bake it. Then take it out and let it cool. Once it's cool, it's ready to eat. Are you ready to see this bread in all its glory? Damn! Doesn't that just look delicious? I love it with most things I'd put on a piece of Danish rye bread. So butter, cheese, meats, smoked salmon, or pickled herring. Or like a classic Danish Kartoffelmad. It's rye with new boiled potatoes and slices garnished with mayo and chives. Also, added bacon for absolute awesomeness. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.